My first football take of the day. Last season, I personally built the Sirius XM Houston Texans bandwagon, okay? I was the voice of the national airwaves saying, watch out for the Texans. Watch out for D'Amico. Watch out for CJ. Watch out for this team. This team is legit. They're on the come. They're young. They're hungry. I like everything about them. I love that draft. I loved getting Will Anderson. I loved everything about the Texans. And lo and behold, they won the division. And then they won a playoff game. And then they fought the number one seed, the Ravens, pretty tough in the first half in Baltimore in the divisional round. And everybody assumed this year they would take that next step forward. The fact of the matter is they're going to end up winning a bad division, and they will be absolutely infuriating while doing so. I am so frustrated by this Texans team. They messed around today, and they lose this game at home against the Titans, and they're so much better than the Titans, and they were playing at home, and they just can't get out of their own way. And this is particularly aggravating to me because I am a huge D'Amico Ryans guy. Smart, controlled, aggressive when needed, calm when needed. I think he walks a great balance and a great line. But if you are a reflection of your head coach, then D'Amico Ryans is sloppy because there were so many self-inflicted wounds. And there are moments this year where the Houston Texans are just a calamity of errors. And nothing highlighted that more than today against the Titans, trying to drive for a game-winning score and penalties, mental miscues, illegal movement or formations. The offensive line just getting absolutely manhandled. CJ Stroud stepping out of the back of the end zone of the safety that ices it. There were so many things that were so frustrating today, and this is what the Texans have become this season. You can't trust them. And that bothers me. That bothers me because I was the one last year that had believed when other people did not. This year, I just can't bring myself to believe in them. I can't do it. I cannot do it. There's been too many times this year where they have played a D or C level effort. And that ain't going to get it done to the playoffs. And that's not how you elevate to the next level as a franchise. They have all of the pieces. They have all of the pieces to be great. And yet they just can't get to that next step this season. And I am left to wonder whether it's too much too soon. When you're a young team and you have success early and then you become the trendy pick, oftentimes you can start believing it, believing the hype. And you've got to have a coach that grounds you and focuses you. And I am worried that D'Amico's messaging of doing that is not getting through. There is just too many self-inflicted wounds week after week from the Texans. And I don't know why, and I don't know when it's going to stop because we're already at Thanksgiving. But the Houston Texans should be a contender. I could have been a contender. And they're not. They're going to win the AFC South. They're going to have a home playoff game, and they're going to be right for the picking for somebody like the Chargers or the Ravens or somebody else to waltz in there and get a win and knock them out wild card weekend. I'm warning you right now, it's setting up that way. What was more concerning, the Texans losing to the Titans at home or the Chiefs struggling with the Panthers?
It's the Texans, man. The Texans losing at home today I think that's more concerning. The Chiefs, the way that they won, they've been winning like that all season long. It's just what it is. And give the Panthers credit, they've been getting better. But the Texans losing to the Titans at home, huge. And then for the Titans to be able to do what they were able to do against the Texans, run the football, Will Levis throwing the football, big plays down the field. What happened to this defense? The defense was supposed to be upgraded from last season, and all they've done is gotten worse. And CJ Stroud has certainly declined from I don't want to call it a sophomore slump, but He definitely isn't playing at the same level he was playing at last season. When they take the field in critical moments, Dame, you could just see the body language of when they get into the huddle. It's almost like they're unsure of themselves, and you can tell before the snap, you can tell after the snap. CJ Stroud is unsure of himself, and when it comes to critical moments, they don't execute.
I know, and I don't understand why. Because I really like D'Amico. I mean, you played against D'Amico. You know the type of reputation that he has in the NFL. They were so good in so many levels last year. They were tight. They were on point. And this year they're not. When they're trying to come back against the Titans today, I mean, they've got bad, just mental error penalties. Their offensive line's getting killed, absolutely killed. CJ Stroud's running for his life. CJ's also errant. They're just making a ton of unforced errors on themselves. They're playing a sloppy brand of football, and I don't understand why. If they didn't do it last year, why do you think it's catching up to them this year?
You know, sometimes you just you think your stuff don't stink, man, and it catches up to you. You get humbled in the NFL, man. You have one good season, and you think automatically you're just supposed to build off of it. There were some comments made. I didn't agree with these comments, by the way. I want to preface by saying that, but there were some comments made about CJ Stroud early in the season. Like, he kind of had this sort of appearances like he arrived, like he was already, I think it was after the game they played against Caleb Williams and the Bears. And he kind of was, he's giving, and some people are like, well, you just got here yourself. What kind of advice? And so, maybe there's a little bit of that with the Texans. I don't think so personally. I think other teams gotten better, and the Texans have not. And you do have to take the injuries into consideration. The wide receiver, they don't have their left tackle. But the defense, to me, no excuse.
The CJ Stroud thing's really interesting because he was everybody's darling last year for being a leader, humble, hardworking. They win a playoff game. There was nothing you could say badly about CJ. He was kind of like paired together with the Houston Texans' success. Yeah. He was either the reason or was, a partner in the reason why. And so people are very hesitant to start crushing him. He kind of is above the fray a little bit in that way, but really this season,
yeah,
if he had had a mediocre rookie campaign, he would be getting pretty crushed this year. But because he didn't, he's floating above the criticism that he probably deserves.
Yeah, even me. Like I'll admit, like I'm even careful about, I don't want to, know what I mean? But I will say this: the one thing I do notice about CJ Stroud that's different is just watch him on the sideline when things aren't going good. Watch him. How many times, if you watch the game, there were so many times quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, Slowick, went over to CJ Stroud, patting him on his leg, patting him on the helmet, like his body language, he's pouting. Even when, and you want your quarterback that, okay, we understand that you get into the heat of the game, but Russell was so great at this. It didn't like that game we won in the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers when we recovered the onside kick.
Yeah,
we were done. But Russell never pouted. He just always, come on, guys, next drive, next play, boom, boom. And you just don't see that from CJ. You saw it last year. It wasn't like everything was perfect last season. They faced some adversity, but he always seemed like he had this positive mindset. It just felt that way. Right now, it doesn't look like that. Like he looks like Kyler Murray did last year. He's always pouting on the sideline and stuff like that, away from his teammates. It's different.